Munich, a city known for extravagant history, cultural landmarks, and high quality of living. I recently visited to soak up its charms, but to my genuine surprise, I've experienced so much more. For a city with a reputation to be Germany's more serious, conservative counterpart, I've certainly encountered Munich's incredibly vibrant, relaxed, and fun-loving side. To be fair, I came here at the best time of the year when the whole city embraces its great Bavarian tradition, cementing its place as one of Europe's most festive and liveliest cities. In Munich, you get the best of both worlds, a deeply historic city existing alongside a modernly efficient urban landscape. Thankfully, I managed to explore the city's multifaceted features, visiting its glorious palaces and museums, navigating the historical center and artistic treasures, strolling around its beautiful parks, indulging in Bavarian cultural delights, and finally put our party mood on by partaking in Bavaria's legendary beer capital and the world's biggest folk festival, the Oktoberfest. So stay right there as I'll guide you to some of Munich's best places to see, what to do around the city, where to drink and eat, and even hop on a day trip outside Munich to visit two of Bavaria's most beautiful and romantic retreats, Linderhof Palace and Neuschwanstein Castle. Munich is gifted with a long and eventful history, survived 2 world wars, and emerged as one of Germany's most culturally rich. But the city had its humble beginnings. Named München, or precisely, home of the monks, the Benedictine friars have run this town from the 8th century and was later founded as a city by the powerful Duke Henry the Lion in 1158. During the Middle Ages, 5 gates stood around the city, and only 3 of them remain today: Karlstor, Isartor, and Sendlingertor. But it was really under the magnificently prolonged 700-year rule of the House of Wittelsbach, with a long line of kings and Holy Roman emperors, that saw Munich flourish as the capital of the Bavarian kingdom. Many of what we see today in Munich's historic heart are monuments of that remarkable kingdom. In the city's bustling hub, Marienplatz, you'll recognize the restored Old Town Hall, which dates back to the 14th century, and then there's the visibly neo-Gothic New Town Hall, later added in the 19th century, drawing visitors to gaze up to its impressive glockenspiel that chimes daily at 11 and noon. It's also worth going to its interior courtyard, where you can further appreciate its unabashedly Gothic revival design. At the edge of the square is Munich's oldest church, Alte Pinakothek, a church that dates back to the 12th century, destroyed in the Second World War like much of Munich, but was rebuilt and restored, including the altar and ceiling frescoes. We climb up to its 300+ steps to get this marvelous view of Marienplatz during the golden hour to see the city below that's so alive. Since we're on the topic of churches, a stone's throw away is a 15th century juggernaut that still stands mighty and strong today. The city's biggest church, Frauenkirche, or the Munich Cathedral, with its iconic 2 green onion dome towers, which defined Munich's skyline for centuries. It's known that no other building is allowed to be built taller than these towers, the city's bid to preserve Munich's historic character. Being part of the Holy Roman Empire at some point, Munich was a center for counter-reformation against Protestantism during the 16th and 17th centuries, and so the city built so many stunning churches. One of these is St. Michael's, the largest Renaissance church north of the Alps, with a magnificent facade. Further along in Odeonsplatz is a Theatenirkirche, or Theatin Church, another gem in this collection of Munich's great churches. Built in the 17th century, this Italian-inspired late Baroque style glows with an ochre facade, and within an ornately white Rococo interior. This place was heavily destroyed in World War II, and the commitment in its restoration is so palpable in its full glory today. If you do prefer your church is small but exquisite, my personal favorite is Asamkirsche, or Asamchurch, an 18th century pure work of Baroque expression, packing so much detail in such little space. One more church you need to see is St. Ludwig, this 19th century neo-Romanesque monument, built at the behest of King Ludwig I. Inside, you'll witness a hugely sublime fresco, known as the second largest in the world. This church is located near Siegestor, with the Victory Arch, now considered Munich's symbol of peace. Since when the theme of art, right beside the old historic town is the Max-Vorstadt district, home to Kunstareal, Munich's vibrant museum and university quarter, one that packs an extraordinary amount of cultural and artistic treasures in one dynamic neighborhood. All thanks to one of Bavaria's most prominent monarchs, King Ludwig I, a true art and architecture connoisseur who ordered the construction of museums, galleries, and temples. The king's love for the antiquities is apparent, especially ancient Greek. His dream to turn Munich into his so-called Athens on the Isar became a reality with Glyptothek, the city's oldest public museum. We went in to inspect the collection of beautiful Greek and Roman sculptures housed in this classical building, practically a temple to ancient art. Here you'll find a stunning Barbarian faun, figures of the Aegina temple, and a room full of busts of Roman emperors, amongst many other incredible sculptures. Do also check out the state collection of antiquities, located right across the Glyptothek, where you'll see many of Bavaria's archaeological collections from Greek, Etruscan, and Roman. Outside in Königsplatz, you'll find the Grecian Propylaea Gate, built in the honor of the son of King Ludwig I, who became king of Greece in the 19th century. Next, we visited Alte Pinakothek, another one of King Ludwig I's commissions, considered one of the oldest galleries in the world and one of the most important in Europe. Much of the building was damaged by World War II, but this has since been restored, where now you can enjoy viewing over 700 incredible paintings in the permanent collection. Some of the masterpieces you find here are work by Rubens, Rembrandt, Dürer, Raphael, Bruegel, and my favorite, The Battle of Alexander at Issus by German artist Albrecht Altdorfer, painted with absolute stunning detail. This is also the only German museum to house Leonardo da Vinci, Madonna of the Carnation. Outside, if you fancy taking a break from museums, since this is a university district, you'll find affordable places to eat in this area. We took a couple of breaks to eat some delicious Vietnamese food. And later, this really fantastic pizza place with some of the best pizzas you'll taste outside of Italy. Last on a museum tour is the Bavarian National Museum, right near the Englischer Garten. This 19th century palatial building containing a sweeping collection of decorative arts and over 3 floors and 40 rooms. This place is an institution, and it's extraordinary to see all the precious and rare treasures, from sculptures to clothing, priceless porcelain and gold. Perhaps the most impressive of all, a breathtakingly beautiful collection of carved ivory. You can enjoy all these museums, especially on Sundays, when Munich treats all those who visit with only €1 entry ticket. Practically a giveaway for all the masterworks you'll witness here, making art and culture accessible to everyone. If you come to Munich and you're looking to experience that bygone Bavarian splendor, then look no further than Munich Residenz, perhaps one of the most vast and extravagant palaces I've ever been to. In fact, the Residenz is known as the largest inner-city palatial complex in the entire Germany. The exterior might look like your typical European palace facade, but the interior oozes with unbelievable regal resplendence. Much of the palatial structure was bombed and destroyed during the Second World War, so you can truly appreciate the lengths of which this palace was restored post-war times, and admire the magnificent rooms and the priceless treasures that survived here. This immense palace was home to the Wittelsbach monarchs for over 400 years, from 1508 to 1918, and it houses a vast amount of spectacle that this Bavarian dynasty had compiled throughout centuries. The Residenz is now a museum, and anyone can fully experience its magnificence, with 130 rooms and 10 courtyards to browse through. Go in for a tour to see the intricate Grottohof with the Perseus fountain entirely made out of seashells, then glide through the stunningly vaulted Antiquarium. This is the palace's Renaissance-inspired banquet hall, containing a great collection of antiques and sculptures. Walk through the imperial halls, exuberantly displaying its early Baroque pomp and pageantry. But just when you think it can't get any better, oh boy, it does. When you go and explore the so-called rich rooms, a series of suites embellished and emblazoned with flamboyant rococo, rooms that are so sublimely conceived, with the finest European gilded work that will make anyone audibly gasp. Don't forget to also explore the royal apartments, giving you a glimpse of the grandiose lifestyle of the Wittelsbach family. To continue this Wittelsbach tour, I highly recommend going to the Schloss Nymphenburg, the Bavarian dynasty's palatial summer residence located 20 minutes west of Munich. This is a great Bavarian jewel and considered one of the major palaces in Europe. I loved visiting this place. This beautiful palace matched with an expansive 180-hectare palatial grounds and parks, an absolute must-visit for any aficionados of grand European royal residences. The palace itself was built to celebrate the birth of the long-awaited heir to the dynasty, Elector Max Emanuel, and throughout his reign grew and expanded the palace. Look out for King Ludwig I's Schönheiten Gallery, with a gallery of beauties, with paintings of beautiful women from all walks of life, and then seek for the Queen's bedchamber, a room where King Ludwig II was born. The palace and grounds are known to feature in the films Alain René's 1961 Last Year in Marienbad, as well as Luchino Visconti's Ludwig from 1972. You'll recognize the perfectly symmetrical gardens outside, especially in the Marienbad film. The grounds outside are so vast, it's considered the second largest public park in Munich, and we went for a long contemplative stroll on a beautiful sunny afternoon. A truly perfect place for idle walks through the woodlands and natural lakes, offering anyone who comes here a peaceful, calming sense of nature. The thing with Munich, and it's the one thing I love most about it, is the access to green spaces. There's always nature just within reach, whether you're in or outside the city. It's evident that the Münchners love the outdoors, and this is a city that's so abundant with green. In the historical centre, there's Hofgarten, the Munich Residenz court garden with its landscape beauty. But for a true commune with nature, there's the Englischer Garten, or the English Garden, Munich's biggest public park and one of the largest city parks in the world. I've been told this is even larger than the Central Park in New York and the Hyde Park in London. One can easily spend an entire afternoon here in this green oasis, created by an Englishman, Sir Benjamin Thompson, for the Electorate of Bavaria in the 18th century, hence the English name. In this park you'll find the Monopteros, a landmark Greek temple commissioned by King Ludwig I, punctuating this park prominently. This meadow landscape provides a vast recreational area, one of which, and most unexpected of them all, is surfing the waves of the Eisbach River. This has been a popular local spot for surfers for decades, drawing both professionals and enthusiasts, and chances are any local will recommend you to go here to spend some time transfixed in this simple activity of surf watching. When you're done gazing, head to the Chinese Pagoda Tower located at the heart of the Englischer Garten, a focal point with a touch of that very quintessential Bavarian flair, beer gardens. It's one of the city's most favorite pastimes, gathering in this beer garden, the second largest in Munich, getting some typical Bavarian food and jugging a Hofbräu Bierstein, or precisely 1 liter of beer. Because you're not really experiencing Munich for real if you're not drinking one Bierstein after another. And since we're speaking about beer, you'd probably guess by now that Munich is the capital of beer. It's that very Bavarian tradition, a time-honored guarantee in Bavarian life that any day can and will end in drinking beer. I'm not much of a beer man myself, but Munich has beguiled and enticed me with its beer culture, that for many parts of this trip I found myself enjoying, both delighted and convinced of the sanguine, happiness-inducing aspect of a good Bavarian beer, and I cannot recall having this much beer in my life in any other place in the world other than the city of Munich. Cheers! 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 One of my favorite places in this regard is the Viktualienmarkt, the city's best farmer and food market located at the heart of Munich's old town. This place is a bustling hub for any food lover, and you'll find all sorts of pavilions for fresh produce and vegetables, Bavarian sausages, delicacies and wine. It's also a great and affordable place to eat with cafes and sandwich stalls, and this market also serves as a beer garden. We came to this place at least twice to have sausages and beer, and it's a great place to observe the vibrant city life happening all around you. Actually, you'll find so many beer places in Munich, on sidewalks, courtyards, gardens, you'll never run out of options. But if you want to experience a true local institution, then head to the Hofbräuhaus, this hallowed historic beer hall that's stamped on any must-do, must-visit Munich city guides. This world-famous beer tavern is absolutely worth your visit. Previously a 16th century brewery turned into a cavernous beer hall and garden, prime for the city's entertainment and social gatherings. This hall has, of course, been unfairly associated with a specific brand of socialism, where one Adolf Hitler delivered a speech here giving birth to the Nazi Party. But this is not the legacy that Hofbräuhaus deserves. This hall was destroyed in the Second World War and was lovingly reconstructed to restore its true legacy, a place of peaceful, joyful merriment between city folks, locals and tourists, all brushing elbows and enjoying brass band music with jugs of beer in this amazing cultural Bavarian institution. And this is what it should be remembered for. Which leads us to another institution, arguably the greatest Bavarian event in every calendar year, when the whole city puts in a festive mood, showing its fun side, where dirndls and lederhosen spring up from the wardrobes and quite literally millions of liters of beer are drunk and enjoyed. For the very first time, we went to Oktoberfest. You see, I had my doubts whether I'm the target demographic of this event, but seriously, how could anyone live through this life and not get to experience the world's largest folk festival and the biggest beer party on the entire planet? Contrary to its name, Oktoberfest actually begins late in September, and the weather in Munich enjoys a late Indian summer and goes on for roughly 16 days into October, and has been celebrated since 1810 as a city festival to celebrate the wedding of King Ludwig I to Princess Therese. This took place in a field called Theresienwiese, or as the locals call it, Wiesn. Napoleon, wars, cholera, financial crisis, 2 more world wars, and a pandemic were the culprits that stopped the beer bacchanalia over the last 2 centuries. But apart from those, the Oktoberfest is resilient, beloved, and a sacred event to the city of Munich. We joined Oktoberfest for 2 days, and thankfully were guided by friends from Munich, helping us navigate through the immensity of this place. First, you must know, the fairgrounds are as important as the beer tents, and it's advisable for anyone new to the party to go and enjoy the fairground first, before eating or drinking anything, unless you'd want to spill your guts on one of these rides. And boy, did one of these rides flung my soul out of space. It's called the Mondlift, and I swear never again will I ever set foot on this ride. The centrifugal rotor makes for a tamer ride, but personally, better to watch than to be stuck in a spinning wall, if you ask me. If you're not afraid of heights, go up to the Willenborg Ferris wheel, and the views over the Wiesn makes for a mesmerizing sight. And then there are the renowned beer tents. We went here during the daytime and the afternoons, in the hope to avoid super busy times, but even then, it's still crowded, and the atmosphere is electric. We spent 2 days exploring these tents, with these big beer brands dominating the beer scene in Munich. And to keep civility and to avoid being frankly shit-faced, we narrowed it down to 4. We visited these tents without expectations, and each one was as fun as the other. There's Augustiner Bräu, the oldest and most traditional brewery, and thank goodness to all those medieval monks who perfected beer brewing in the city. Be warned, Bavarian beers are the best and so easily drinkable, and chances are you'll raise your beer mouth and chant Ein Prosit remarkably well after a liter of beer, cheering with strangers on your table. Next up, we checked out Schottenhamel's Spatenbräu, which is equally lively and convivial. And then there's Löwenbräu, with its rowdier, sing-along, table dancing crowd. The beer is so good here, you'd probably stay for a second time. But my most favorite beer tent has to be Paulaner, with a younger, mixed crowd, with both locals and internationals cheering and grooving along to a great brass band, playing tunes with everyone singing along. The atmosphere here is so infectious and unbelievable. We loved it so much, we went there twice. You see, I didn't expect to enjoy Oktoberfest this much, but I did. And I can see why millions upon millions of people flock each year to be in this event, to be part of this rambunctious yet incredibly joyful kind of civilized chaos. And yet, outside, it's a family-friendly festival, with lots of rides for kids to enjoy. And inside the beer tents, it's like being in a big village party, with so much happiness in the air. Yes, we spent a lot of time dodging crowds, and then we became part of the crowds. Beer costs here between 12 to 15 euros per litre. But beer after beer after beer, we truly found ourselves enjoying the sheer euphoria of this place, appreciating that Munich really knows how to throw one hell of a great party. After the incredible party at the Oktoberfest, we spent our remaining time in Munich practically recuperating, and also took the opportunity to see some great sights in Bavaria. Being north of the Alps, Bavaria is gifted with pristine landscapes, punctuated with legendary castles and palaces and picturesque towns, all within easy reach from the city of Munich. For this reason, we took a full-day guided tour to experience the splendor of Bavaria. We took the Ludwig II tour, exploring his romantic legacy in this part of Bavaria. For context, the 19th century King Ludwig II is perhaps Bavaria's most fascinating protagonist, an artistic, poetic king who took refuge from his royal duties and constructed fabulous, postcard-perfect palaces and castles to pursue something he'd always dreamed of, a charmed, enchanted life. We began in Linderhof, a residence palace where Ludwig II lived, spending his last remaining years as a reclusive royal, surrounded by the glorious opulence and lavishness of this place. Linderhof is minuscule compared to the other major palaces in Germany, but it is exquisitely detailed, and the setting is extraordinary. It's a palace of pure romance. No filming is allowed inside the palace, so I'll leave that to your imagination. However, we were able to explore the beautiful grounds set against a backdrop of forests and mountains. There's so much nature here. One can only imagine Ludwig going for his great hunting expeditions. Most of the palace projects Ludwig planned were unfinished, and Linderhof is the only palace he saw completed while he lived. Next on our day itinerary is a stopover at a charming little village at the Oberammergau Alps. This is Oberammergau, a place known for its beautiful elaborate wall frescoes, centuries-old tradition of wood carving, and the famous Passion Play, a performed play depicting Jesus Christ's Passion and Crucifixion in this part of Catholic Bavaria. We had a short time here, just enough for a coffee and a walk around the village, and I was fully enamored by the quaint frescoes that are painted on houses and buildings all over the place. The paintings are called Liveliest, with often fairy tale motifs in them. Next up, we proceeded to our final destination, the village of Neuschwanstein, where we grabbed a hearty lunch and beer at the Bavarian restaurant Alpenstuben. And then it was time to continue our Ludwig II tour and meet the crowning glory of his legacy. Neuschwanstein Castle, arguably the most iconic castle in the world, perched at the foothills of the Alps and imprinted on every romantic fairy tale visions of Bavaria. It's no surprise the amount of tourism attention of this place, visited by millions of tourists each year. We braved a steep 20-minute walk up to the castle instead of taking one of the carriages to fully appreciate the surrounding nature, but once you're up there, the climb is worth it. This 19th century castle, which Ludwig II, the Swan King of Bavaria, fashioned from the old German knight's castle, actually partly built in tribute to composer and friend Richard Wagner, whose romantic operas enriched the imagination of the king. No photography and filming are allowed inside the castle, but I can safely say Wagner's operatic influence can be seen in every room, every fresco, design and theme of this place, a lofty divine aspiration that's consummated with this heavenly panorama of magical Bavaria. The king died in 1886 and never saw the castle completed, lending this place a touch of sadness and melancholy. But today, his legacy lives on, that of a king who once had a lofty dream and dared to achieve the unimaginable while he lived. This trip to Munich and Bavaria was a very special one. Thanks to friends for helping us experience the city in the best possible way. We made plenty of great memories here. Bavaria's capital has its own special energy, one that loves the outdoors, the nature and the green spaces, while upholding its vast history and cultural treasures. A resplendence that has thankfully survived throughout centuries, restored, preserved and protected. Its cultural traditions disarmed me, with its vibrant beer gardens and exuberant Oktoberfest celebration. It's something to be experienced at least once or even 10 times in your life. It goes to show what travel does to you, giving you the willingness to be open and experience the unexpected, allowing you to see another perspective, something different in life. And it's a lifestyle that's continually admired. Munich is considered one of the most livable cities in the world, and this place has so much to offer to anyone who longs to visit. It's a city that knows how to live, and live truly well. I thoroughly loved my time in Munich, and it's a city that honestly makes me look forward to going back.